this is Mary, and I'm super excited to announce that the Kindle version of the book that I wrote about day trading is finally out and available in Amazon. The paperback should be ready either by tonight or by tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. But I hope that you get to get your copy and let me know what you think about it. Appreciate in advance all the feedbacks, comments, suggestions. You can reach me via email or just put your feedback right there in Amazon, which is what I prefer. So if you take a look at this, it's Day Trading Unlock. Unlock the key to autonomy, financial freedom, and lasting legacy through day trading. And if you want to take a look inside and check whether this book is right for you, so you can just click it right here and you'll see here, learn how to day trade for a living through this practical guide explaining mind and money management tools and high probability strategies and methods. So I have here all those table of contents that you get to see from chapter 1 to chapter 10. So please check it out. And I would love to hear any feedbacks, comments, suggestion, and look forward as well to that paperback. So with that shameless plug, I hope you had a green trading day. So for today, I traded a couple of stocks and I'm here to do a market recap. I traded Apple, BBBY, BIDU, CHWY, Meta, NFLX, Oxy, PayPal, Snap. I know that's a lot. I usually trade a handful, but this one, well, the market is giving us something, so I did trade all those stocks today. So to begin with, let's look at what the SPY had been doing. So the SPY had been pretty much weak for a couple of days. We saw right here the rejection, and this one was 4 days ago when it had a rejection from 419 all the way down to 404. So that's a huge bearish candlestick right there. After that, we never get to see any bounce from that moving average there. It did manage to have this day where it closes higher than when it opened, but a very small candlestick there. So today, what I saw with the SPY is it was on consolidation. So if I look into this 5 minutes right here, the consolidation that I'm talking about is 401 and 396. Those are the only price movement that the SPY had been doing for today. So thought process is today can be just a range bound. It can just go back and forth that range. And pretty much that's what we get to see with a lot of stocks today. So with Apple is the one that had been on that range bound. And if you notice here in the daily chart, look at how similar or kind of like mirror effect of this with the SPY. So the Apple had, let me just get my pen here, 4 days ago had this huge rejection, and ever since we've just been going lower low, lower high. Now when it comes to SPY, the action is about the same. So SPY had that rejection and it had been on that lower low and lower high. So pretty much SPY had been making and have that influence with the rest of what the market had been doing. With Apple, it had been moving the way that SPY had been moving. So it's consolidating. But what I saw, I actually traded Apple late today. But yeah, because this is not my typical opening range breakout or breakdown setup. But what I saw with Apple is it is indeed behaving like a SPY, and it had been on that range as well. As you can see here in the daily chart, it is still on that range. So range meaning it's just been moving from 160.21 to 159.11. So that is actually a very small move for Apple, and that in itself can be considered as a range trade. But when I saw it with Apple, this one was around 10:30, is that it's heading to that yesterday's close. So what I did was I tried to catch the bounce I tried to catch the bounce here, and I got stop out, added to my position, and was able to get a little bit of the move there. And then this trade right here just kind of like just make me at break even. So yeah, did not really give me good profit on that. But when I saw that this one had rejected again the yesterday's close, but we are into this hammer and another hammer right here. And when I saw that it's about to break that hammer, so I went long on here, had consolidation, see that yesterday's price, it's behaving like a spy, as well as it is have that big and strong support on that yesterday's close. So I added to my position and added to my position. Of course, my stop loss there was from this level right here, 158.64. When I saw the pop breaking that moving average, I covered there and covered right here. But I was all out at that VWAP because I saw a big rejection at the VWAP. And look at this one. It did not have a good follow through after the VWAP. And that's why it's so important to take a look at the market depth. And that is through looking at level 2 as well as the tape. So that's why I was all out when I get to see that there is no sign of this one pushing through. So with that, I only got, again, this one was like a break-even trade, and this one was a very small position. So I only got 131.74. Now BBY, I've been short bias on BBY, and the reason why I was short bias was we did see this gap down right here. So at the open, we have that gap down, which is my bread and butter. So it's more than 3% gap down. So I'm short bias on this. When I saw this hammer right here, showing some sign of weakness, I entered short, covered right there, entered short again, covered, but it's a very small position. And then I did have some shares left, so cover right there. I saw that it was touching that 9 EMA right there, so it can be a 9 EMA trade. Considering that it is also close to the VWAP, this is going to be a scalp trade. So I entered short here, covered at the VWAP, and sure enough, it popped right back up. Then I saw that it is having this 20 moving average as a very strong resistance there. So at the low of that candlestick right there, I went short, covered at the 9 EMA, and got that little bit of a move. We did not get to see a follow through, so I just got out at 9 EMA. And then the last trade that I did here was this trade right here. So what I saw was we are topping out, meaning we did try to touch that high of the day a couple of times, but this is the high of the day right here, this line right here, 9.97. It did try to go up that 9.97. We did see a strong resistance, and it was only able to get up to around 9.8. When I saw this inverted candlestick, that's very bearish. So I entered short right here, added to my position, cover, added to my position, cover as well. Now this is the trade that messed me up here. When I covered all the way, like it should have been, my position should have been closed, but I did not notice that it's a very fast moving stock. So I did not notice that my current shares for the covering is more than my actual shares. So that means after I got myself covered, it did manage to buy more shares, and that one is a long side. So it did get me some shares to the long side. And of course, this one is very weak stock. So I did had a loss of 346 to the long side. So with that trade BBY, it's just like a break even, just because I did not really manage to get a lot from that trade. So the next one is BIDU. What I saw with BIDU is I am long bias on this. And the reason being is it had gap up more than 3% at the open. It was respecting the VWAP, so very strong stock, but I did not want to chase it because I missed that opening range breakout as well as that VWAP play. So what I did was wait for it to show me some sign of weakness, and I rode it to the short side. Also, with the confirmation and looking at where the SPY is heading. So around this time, the SPY is stopping out as well at 401. So that one was around 10. And that's what I saw as well in BIDU. So around 10, we did see the topping out there, but there was a false breakdown. So I was keeping an eye on this. And once it tried to reach that top, 148.5, we did see the reversal there. So I went short at that loss of this previous candlestick with a stop loss right here at 148.57 and covered my position here, covered, and went all the way out here, moving my stop loss lower than my entry, so I protect my profit. And yeah, all out right here. So with that move, it was just a 276. Now the next trade is CHWY. So CHWY is, or CHWY, I'm very short bias on this. This is the kind of trade that I like just because on the daily chart, we did get to see a breakaway. So this is what I call like a breakaway play. So we do have this consolidation right here, the daily chart. So since around July, we have that movement from 51 to 37 all the way going back and forth. But today, it actually went lower than that. So it opened right about here, 35.97. And with that breakaway play, going to the short side, it is on my radar for this to short this stock. So what I saw here was pre-market, it had gapped down more than 3%. So I like that. So that means I am short bias on this. So what I did was short it right here, but it did get me stop out. So with that stop out, because my stop loss is above the VWAP, and it did just got me stop out. So yeah, that's part of the trading. So what I did next is I entered this one to the short side again with the confirmation. Let me just go right here on my 2-minute chart so it's a bit clearer. All right, so with the 2-minute chart, what I did was I saw that it is about to break that 9 EMA, so I went short there, and true enough, it was just a false breakdown. So with that false breakdown, I got stop out right there. My stop loss was like on the top of the body here, just because the body is big, so I did not use the wick, so I used the body. So I got stop out with that trade. So that was 2 strikes. Now the second try that I did was this one had been topping out. So given that my entry was premature here, I waited for the next 5-minute candlestick, and sure enough, that 5-minute candlestick is still very bearish. It's still lower, forming that lower low compared to that previous candlestick. So I entered short again on that low of the body of this previous candlestick. Now when I entered short there, I was able to get the move just because my stop loss now is right here still, that high of the day, and was able to get that move all the way at the break of that VWAP. So at the break of the VWAP, instead of taking some partial there, it was very bearish. So I even added, I know this is a bit aggressive move, but I added to the VWAP just because there's a strong conviction that this is gonna go down. So I covered here and didn't wanna leave money on the table, so I just went all out here. So that was the trade there. And then the other trade that I did was I saw that this one, so that one is my trade for the short side. For the short side, it was 163, so not a lot. But what I saw was this level here, the low of the day for this candlestick. It did try to go lower, but we did see the buyer stepping in, and this one was able to push it all the way right here. So forming that wick. So when I saw that, now it's on my radar, and then I saw this hammer right here, which is a good sign of reversal. Another thing that shows that this is a sign of reversal is now we are forming this inside bar. Inside bar is this previous candlestick, this is the high of that, this is the low of this, and this inside bar. So this candlestick is inside this previous candlestick right here, forming that inside bar. So when I saw that, thought process is, if this consolidation right here is broken, gives me a sign of reversal or strength, then I will go long. And sure enough, it did. So I place my entry right here at the long, and stop loss is tight right here. And sure enough, we did see that bounce. First, I covered at 9 EMA and all the way up there. I know that we are heading close to that 20 EMA, so I just managed to get stop out. And sure enough, it just trended lower thereafter. So that was the long trade for CHWY, and long trade is 309. Now next one is Meta. Meta is a ridiculous trade because pretty much did not get any there. So what I did with Meta is long at the VWAP and pop right there, but I keep moving my stop loss, and of course with the slippage it just gave me a bad feel. So I was still, this $2 right there. So the next one is Netflix. What I saw from Netflix is this one had been on that range bounce as well, moving like a spy. And so I missed this opening right here because I was trading a different stock. When I missed that opening right there, what I did was wait for a pullback, because this one I'm very bullish on this, just because look at the gap right here. Yesterday's close is around 220.50, and it did manage to open today at 226.21. So that is around $5 move to the high side. So I'm very long bias on this. So when I missed this move, which is a pretty good move, it went from 227 all the way to 234. So that's a great move right there. When I missed that, I was just waiting for my entry. So it did had that pullback. I was thinking whether this one could have been a good 9 EMA, but as soon as it touched the 9 EMA, it just went even lower and touched this 20 EMA. So no conviction there or no signal to having this one bounce. Now it did went lower still, and that resistance right there, that is one of my pivot points, my Camarilla pivot points, that is the 26 or 226.72. I did see a bounce there, so it did respect that Camarilla resistance point there, but also it did respect that because that is the price for the low of the day. So that low of the day price was acting as a strong resistance or strong support. So in this trade right here, I saw that and I entered long, covered my position on that pop. Of course, this is a more expensive stock than my usual, so just couple of shares there, so it's $227 per share. So I was all out right here, and then what I saw and was expecting this, because I saw a curl, I expect this to even break those moving average. So I entered long as well and got stopped out at that loss of that resistance line. So got stopped out, that means my trade there is just at break even. So now I saw that it's back to that level of that low of the day, and that low of the day is still acting as a very strong support. So I entered again, long. I did see a bounce and a pop, break this moving average, and I covered my position. And sure enough, after I covered my position, it just went downhill from there. So not a big move, but with that, I got 776. So not a lot of a home run move today, just because it is a range kind of day, and just because the SPY is range bound. So the next one is Oxy. What I saw from Oxy is yeah, a little bit of over trading here, but it did give us a lot of opportunity here. So with Oxy, this one was going lower low, lower high from that daily chart. So it went more than 3% gap down, so I was short bias on this. So what I saw was it did try to touch that 9 EMA. When I saw the rejection there, I went short, and then I added to my position cover, and then moved my stop loss to break even, which it did give me a bad fill. So it's like just a break even there. Short again at that 9 EMA, cover, and got me stop out still. Short and got me stop out. So this trade right here did not make any. So I shorted again. Now this is the support right here. So when I shorted that one, I got a little bit of a move, but not a home run move. Again, it's like a SPY that is just moving range. So went short, cover here, and all out. Now when I saw that it's touching that yesterday's close, and we have that hammer, inverted hammer, showing some sign of rejection on the yesterday's closed price, I entered short. Now I'm starting to build my position here, and then at that moving average, I covered the loss of moving average as well as the support. I covered there as well and covered all the way down. Again, it touched that yesterday's close, did give me that signal that this is having that rejection. So I went short at that, again, lost of that yesterday's price or yesterday's closing price. Short there, short, added to my short, cover, even added to my position and cover at that bounce in that 9 EMA first and then the 20 EMA. So with that, it's a very tight stop loss, very tight movement, and we are in that range bound. So look at this one, it's just 72.25 and 70 for Oxy. Oxy is a mover. Oxy can move from here 63 to 71. So for this kind of day, this is a range bound trade for Oxy. But with that, having my stop loss tight as well as a good risk to reward ratio, was able to get 787 for that. But I did have to trade and enter a couple of times for this trade to work. Now, next is PayPal. So what I saw with PayPal is it's a strong stock. I did not even get a chance to look at the news, but usually when I do the trade, I would look at the news, and this is where I would see those news. So PayPal for today at 8:50, so before the market open, it has this catalyst that PayPal joined Coinbase Global. So Coinbase is one of those crypto and thus making that good catalyst there. Payment giant joins crypto compliance initiative amid bankruptcies. So there is certainly a catalyst there that's influencing this stock. So, and even without that, just being a day trader, a technical analyst, what I saw here was it got up this much, so more than 3% at the open. It was around 92 yesterday, and then it opened today around 94. So very, very strong stock today. And then what I see here is it had been respecting that VWAP. So very strong stock. And since I missed this move because I was trading a different stock, I just let it run without me. And one of my bread and butter setup is the 9 EMA. Now, given that this really did broke the 9 EMA, the A plus setup could have been if the candlestick had been respecting that 9 EMA and it did not even break through that. That would be the A plus setup for here. But considering that, I did waited for this for a while. So what I saw was this previous candlestick is bigger than the one that's forming. So first, that is forming as an inside bar. So that is a sign of reversal, inside bar. Next, this inside bar, the next candlestick that formed there is forming a higher high and higher low. So meaning we are having that trend right there. So I did not pass this trade and I jump into the trade. So if we look into that 2 minutes chart right here, how it looks like is this. So what I saw was we are doing higher highs, higher lows. We're forming that inside bar. So that is a very good reversal. And so I entered at the break of this candlestick right here, added to my position, and it just popped so tiny that this move right here is very minute, that I did not really get a lot of profit right here. So okay, this trade right here got me stop out eventually with this stop loss right there. So when I saw that it's still forming that higher highs, higher lows, is still on that trend, I waited for another sign for this and another setup. So when I saw this, it's forming this hammer. So I went long at that hammer. Very tight stop loss there. So entry at 94.88. Pop to the moving average. So cover there, cover. I did see a lot of some sellers at the VWAP, so that's gonna act as a strong resistance there. So I covered all the way at VWAP, and sure enough, after I covered in the VWAP, see, it just went lower than that. So that was the trade right here. And then let's see, this one was at 1040. So that trade right there. The next trade and the last trade is, I did see that it had been respecting this R4, or that level where my pivot point, my Camarilla is at, and it did manage to break that low of the day, but we are heading into that consolidation. So that consolidation can present itself as a good reversal point. So consolidating there, thought process is, if this one breaks that consolidation, then I'm gonna go long, which the reason why I entered there is that's the sign where it broke its consolidation level. So I entered long, cover, cover, cover. I was expecting this one to move to VWAP. So when I got all stop out here, I entered again long, moving my stop loss, and was able to have that very small move. But given that small move, it just rejected from there. So it's very important that we do have that stop loss. So that PayPal gave me a 420, and yeah, with that very tight stop loss and movement and range. So the last one is Snap. Now Snap, what Snap had been doing is, if I'm gonna put in my pre-market data here. So Snap had been, yesterday it closed at 10:01, and today what happened was, yesterday it just went at the post in the pre-market all the way to 8.92, and it did jump before the market opened. So from this 8.77 all the way to 11.48. Now, of course, I was trading a different stock, so I did not get to see the news. But let's see what the catalyst is. So Snap, Director Poppy sold 983 shares at 12. And let's see here, 822. So this one is actually the news, like a week ago news. So there's not even a latest news on this. What I can also do if I have time at times is I can check what is going on with Finviz. So let's say Finviz here. Are there any news at all that Snap is having? Because the news here did not really give us what's going on with the Snap. So August 31st, perfect. So this one today, it had a downgrade. Citigroup, which is a very big group of analysts, had this downgraded to $10 from 16. So that's very strong catalyst there, but to the short side. So when I saw that it did pop right there, so downgrade there, it did pop. So this itself is overextended, 9.15 all the way to 11.47. So I did not want to be involved in this kind of trade. Look at this candlestick right there. Only large institution can be able to have that kind of a move. So did not want to touch that. And sure enough, at the open, like at least 13.5 million shares were actively being traded. So it did touch that VWAP, went all the way up, was able to manage to break that high of the pre-market. So pre-market high was 11.51 all the way to 11.62. When I saw that it's topping out meaning this is pre-market high and today's pre-market or today's high. When I did not see that this has a conviction for this to go higher, and considering that there is this strong catalyst to the downside, it had that downgrade from Citigroup. So I was looking at this and considering this one to the short side. So even without the news, just being a technical analyst, you get to see this double bottom right or double top right here. And look at the volume. Volume is depleting. So there's no more push for this to go higher. So when I saw that this candlestick right here broke or went lower than this previous candlestick, that is already an indicator for me that this one is showing some signs of weakness. So I entered short right here, cover, and I got stop out there. But I see here that this one is still heading to my predicted level. So here in the 2 minutes, so this is the candlestick there, 10:30, and this is the 10:30 right here. So I shorted here, cover, and then it got me stop out, but my thesis is still valid. So this one is still heading to the low side. So I re-entered and cover, and moving my stop loss and got all out at 11.50. So that one is my last trade right there. So with that, I was able to get 371, and yeah, I was just bummed because BBY, that long side, make it a red. I wanted to make it all green, but anyway, I'll take what the market is giving me. So for today, I was able to get 2,500. Did manage to trade couple of stocks today, more than usual, but this is because we are on the range, and most of this is a range trade considering that SPY is on that range. So I hope you find this helpful, and if you do have questions regarding day trading, you can shoot me an email about day trading questions. I do have that book under Kindle version is already available in Amazon, so you can check that one out. So it's Day Trading Unlock the key to autonomy, financial freedom, and lasting legacy through day trading. And yeah, so this is the Kindle version. The print version should be coming out tonight or either tomorrow. Amazon is just still reviewing that one. So with that being said, I hope you had a green trading day. And if you have questions, please feel free to email me. And I'll see you in the next one.